the last thing I want to get with you before I let you go is the AI thing. I am of mind that AI is a bubble. I think it will have
Oh, it
benefits,
is.
but
Totally. It totally is.
yeah, and I think China is going to pop that bubble because America is spending like $1 trillion on AI, and China has been able to nail this without spending anywhere near the amount. And the rub is something that you pointed out. Most people don't need the best of anything. Like when I'm going to the grocery store, do I really need the best paper towels? Do I really need the best towels? The best stores? Not really. Most people get what they require, and companies are the same, especially when you have the situation with America having, let's say, questionable influence on AI, whereas China has opened the files where people can effectively even see it's like open source. Go into this for me because China has been nailing this. And you showed me the Wall Street Journal article where they were effectively screaming, red alert, their problems, their problems ahead.
Yeah, it's all the usual suspect, right? It's Dario, it's Sam Altman, it's all these Silicon Valley tech bros. It's crying foul because the Chinese AI is threatening their own plan for the future. Their plan for the future is, it's very simple. They plan to construct this world that will be dependent on their own closed AI product. So yes. They want everybody to use their AI so they can collect a toll, they can collect rent, they can just sit back and collect rent. That is their goal. This is why they're plowing insane amount of money. So their business model is like, in the end, everything is going to depend on us. You're going to have to pay us a fee for access. It's just like you have to. It's like utilities. You for water, for everything. So to live, you're going to have to pay us. But what the Chinese open source AI does is like, hey, these guys, they charge you arm and leg for the AI. We'll give you for like 5 cents. Like practical, we're giving you practically for free. And that really freaks them out because that destroys their total business model. They realize they will not be able to maintain a monopoly after that. When people do have alternative to turn to, a much cheaper Chinese open source model. So they're starting to raise concern about how Chinese open source model is dangerous, it's national security issue. First of all, this is they're capitalizing on people's ignorance, right? The open source idea, it's more like a recipe. China is sharing with you the recipe, right? So once you take that open source model, if you host in your own machine, local environment, then it has nothing to do with China. It has nothing to do with the company that originally produced it. You now have the tool in your hand. This is like equivalent of like, China is like the digital Prometheus, stealing the fire from the Silicon Valley self-designated gods and giving it to people, and they're freaking out. They're like, if China does this, we can't be gods anymore. Our plan was to have like a Matrix-like world where we are the overlords. We get to have our tentacle inside every aspect of your life because you will depend on us to be on our product. You will be our digital serfs, and that's what it is. Their goal is for tech feudalism, right? Yeah. With them as a feudal lords at the top, and everybody will be reduced to peons and serfs. But the Chinese open source model is a serious threat to that because other people's like, why do I need to pay, arms and leg for OpenAI or for Anthropics? I can just use a much cheaper open source model which I can get it for free if I host it in my own local environment. And this is why they're freaking out. They're trying to loop in the U.S. government to ban the use of Chinese AI. It's always the same story.
And just to put this in context, recently, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, where the U.S. government, I think on a Friday, came out and put some edict or something out that forced companies, I know what it was, basically saying that foreign companies couldn't use, I believe it was Anthropic or one of the software systems.
Yeah, Anthropics.
And when it did that, it had a cascading effect where all of these countries realized they didn't own their own tech, meaning it shut it off. They weren't able
Yep.
to effectively use its system abroad. And
Yep.
then so you get countries like France, like, so wait a minute, we don't own the thing to which we're basing our companies?
You are
And it's
buying
like,
a service. You are buying
you're
a service that can be shut off anytime.
on
Yeah.
a whim. On a whim.
Yep.
And you don't even know what's in it. Like, meaning you're sending your information, meaning all
Yep.
of these secret private things of a company, you're effectively sending as you hit their server with that data and with that information. So A, you don't own it, and B, you're effectively giving out all your secrets anytime you're doing searches for the AI.
Yep.
It's problematic. No, you're absolutely right, brothers. And as you point out, China is open source, meaning they opened it so people can take a look at what they're effectively doing when they're building the system itself.
And
Now,
guess what? And guess what? If you take away all the AI investment in the US economy right now, the US economy would be in recession. You will have zero growth. You will have no growth. All the growth in the US economy currently, like 2 point some percent, that is all AI driven. That's all from AI investment, like data building of data centers, right?
Yep.
And guess what? The problem with the building, see, when China built high-speed railway back in 2008, guess what? Those high-speed railway is still in use today. They're still transporting hundreds of millions of people every day. What's going to happen in those data centers in 20 years? Those equipment, those NVIDIA chip, which cost an arm and leg to purchase, they become obsolete in like 6 months, in a year, because the technology continually evolving. So all these billions of dollars they're plowing into building those data centers, they will get depreciated before they even turn a profit. This is not nobody is doing this math because they don't want to, because then it kind of otherwise people will realize it won't justify this kind of crazy evaluation that the Wall Street is projecting for them. Because right now they continually demand more and more and more money, because their whole model depending on keep on building more and more data center, buy more and more NVIDIA GPU chips, driving up all the prices of memory and to everything. Now everything is serving this AI beast, but guess what? They're still not making a lot of money. The amount of the money they make does not even come close to the amount of money they're piling in, and their equipment is depreciating very fast. In a few years, let's just be conservative. Let's say in 4 to 5 years. In 4 to 5 years, all this computer equipment sitting in the data center will be completely obsolete. In 5 years,
yes.
Like then what? Then you need to buy more equipment. I mean, it makes NVIDIA happy, NVIDIA. That's why they're buying each other's stocks to helping to prop up the AI bubble. Yeah, NVIDIA is buying the OpenAI stocks, and the OpenAI is buying NVIDIA stocks. I mean, this is a shell game. This is completely rigged.
No, you're totally right. If you look at the financial channels, they keep pointing this out, that they are spending billions in this kind of speculative industry. And as you point out, they're buying each other's stocks. And as you point out, we're functioning on that Ponzi scheme of this kind of circular money thing. It's very strange. And yet that is what the US economy is propped up on right now.
Yeah, this is no different from the dot-com bubble, which most of us have already experienced. This was their goal back then. Was like, okay, we're gonna spend all this money to build these monopolies, and eventually we're gonna collect capital. Well, guess what? The irrational exuberance will go on until you can't go on anymore. At one point, the bubble got popped. I don't know when it's gonna happen. It could go on longer than anybody expected. It could go on for another year or two, but it cannot go on forever, man. The money is not unlimited. The money do not grow on trees. A lot of this AI investment, by the way, they were counting on the money coming from the Gulf country, from the Gulf Arab countries. Yes. Well, where's Gulf Arab country going to get their money from now? Kuwait hasn't sold any oil for months. The longer the Strait of Hormuz and the Houthis, the Yemenis are shutting down this Red Sea because, for a while, the Saudis were allowed to pipe oil through their pipeline to the port of Yanbu and ship it out that way. And port of Yanbu has a capacity about 4.5 million barrels of oil per day. And that's gone. That's got cut off. And like for a while, the oil price hasn't shot to the stratosphere beyond $125 per barrel is because China voluntarily cut their oil imports by half, which is about 5.5 million barrels a day. Well, guess what? With the Saudi oil flow from Port of Yanbu through Red Sea get cut off, 4.5 million barrels right there. And the UAE pipeline that goes to the Port of Fujairah, that also got shut off. That's about 1 to 2 million barrels per day. That's already equivalent of all the oil imports that China has cut off. So there's no more buffer. There's no more buffer in the oil market. And at the same time, the oil market has been sustained by all the strategic oil reserves. They have been drawing down their strategic petroleum reserve for the past few months. Those are running low. United States only have 1 month left of the crude oil inventory. So it's going to get a lot worse, before things get better.
Aramco is burning as we speak.
Yes. So
hit the oil fields. They're
burning. The Gulf Arab countries, they need all that money themselves to repair all the facilities. They don't have any more money for AI. I'm sorry. That money is not coming.
Carl, man, I always enjoyed these conversations. You always give the best historical context and breakdowns. I thank you for this. Carl Jha. Carl Jha is host of Silk and Steel podcast, focused on China and surrounding regions, their history, culture, and politics. You can follow Carl on Twitter at Carl Jha. You can follow his podcast on Twitter at Steel, Silk, and the letter N. And you can subscribe and support the podcast on patreon.com/Silk and Steel. Carl, you're fantastic. You have a good night, man. Thank you for this.
Thank you.